der Edelmetallmesse in München suchen wir weiter nach interessanten Gesprächspartnern und ich freue mich jetzt, Ken Brinston, um ein Update des Projekts auf Pilgangoora zu bitten. So Ken, we've been visiting the project in August this year. So what has been done till now? So you've been drilling. What else has changed?
Yeah, lots of activity at site. So we've continued to drill to backfill the resource for the purpose of the completion of the feasibility work, and that was all published in about the last sort of month or two, and fantastic results generated from those feasibility studies. A definitive feasibility study on a 2 million tonne per annum operation and a pre-feasibility study on a 4 million tonne per annum operation at Pilgangoora, both very, very strong projects.
So what about the development of the mine? When do you think about the time scale when you're going to be doing some work, commencing your plant, setting up everything needed?
Yeah, well, we're still on track for commissioning in late 2017. To get there in the intervening period, obviously lots more work to be done, but the project is progressing well. So for the final environmental approvals, for the financing objectives, for the balance of the money required for the project, and then ultimately to get the project underway on the ground. With major earthworks and construction from the early part of 2017 and some interim works in between.
So for a shareholder it might be of interest how you do the financing. So you have about 100 million in cash at the moment, you might need some more. Could you give us a short outline on how much money will be needed and how you might secure that by credit, by debt or by new share placements?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, well, the entire project's construction cost is about 215 million Australian dollars, and we require a little bit more in working capital. So our expectation is that there's a broad sort of suite of financing sources available to us, some of which are already firm in the sense that our customers have agreed to participate in part of the fundraising, and then we've started a formal project financing process, which includes lots of interaction with banks and non-bank lenders, and that process is now well underway, using the definitive feasibility study as the basis for all of the due diligence that's required to participate in those markets.
So with your recent exploration program just ending, what do you think is the upside potential for adding even more tonnage to your gigantic project?
Yeah, well, Pilgangoora is a huge system of pegmatites that host the spodumene and the tantalum, and the more we drilled during the course of 2016, the more tonnes that we turned up, even to the point where in some respects it's a bit inconvenient, because where we're drilling to sterilise ground for the purpose of infrastructure, we've turned up even more tonnes. Yeah, and really all of that just goes to prove that it's a fantastic package of land. And actually, it's our expectation that if you continue to keep drilling, you will inevitably turn up more tonnes. So yeah, we would suggest there's going to be a mine there for many, many decades to come.
So you're adding tonnes, but what about the grade? Is the grade going down with the rate you're increasing the tonnes, or is it kind of consistent in your system?
Yeah, no, Albert, I think it is consistent. The themes that we'd learned from previous drilling programs, higher grades towards the east of the project area, lower grades towards the south and the west of the project area, those themes are consistent with that continued drilling. Some things that have worked well for us though, and in particular during the definitive feasibility study, was the extent to which we're able to improve both lithium recoveries and tantalum recoveries, and as a result there's been a value add in the feasibility process, pilot scale work and those bulk sampling programs, so they've all been an important value add to the project.
So during our visit in August, I think Monster was kind of the northern edge of your tenements, and you added some new tenements adjoining your old ones there. So what happened there?
Yeah. Well, our objective was to secure the core trend, the core Pilgangoora trend, and what we'd learned from our drilling was that it was clear and for that matter, drilling from the people that we purchased the project from, that core trend continued on to Dakota's ground. Again, theme similar to what we'd learned, areas towards the east and in our case the northeast, higher grade. And they are a net value add to our project, so hence our desire to want to purchase those tenements.
So what do you think will happen within the next months with regard to further exploration work, adding tons, commissioning? What do you think, what kind of news flow may a shareholder wait for and look for?
Yeah, well, we've continued the exploration programs right up until actually in the last couple of days. A mixture of exploration and sterilisation programs, but yes, we've had some more success in the exploration area, in which case we'd expect to continue to grow the resource. The team tells me that we'll probably have refreshed that before the end of the year, and I guess my expectation is we'll continue to see the resource grow. And in the intervening period, some important milestone events for the delivery of the project. One of the more important ones actually is the early contractor involvement process as it relates to the Pilgangoora process plant. Those teams, there's three parties bidding for that work. They've been beavering away in the background with respect to more detailed engineering, and they'll be presenting Pilbara with a fixed price for the plant, and we will pick a partner to continue the project's development into detailed engineering, design and ultimately construction. So that's another important milestone happening in the period leading up to the end of the year. We'll continue to progress the financing. Now the financing may not be completed before the end of the year, but it probably will have been relatively early in the new year. And the team is very much set now to go out on the ground and deliver the project. Lastly, we've continued the initiatives with our cornerstone offtake partner, General Lithium, for the progress of a future chemical plant to convert our spodumene into carbonate and/or hydroxide. And that project has continued to progress, and we'll have more to say about that in the public domain over the coming weeks and months. Yeah.
So thank you very much for the update. There's a lot of news upcoming. It's been, or it will be, interesting times, and I hope we meet soon for another update.
Very good, Albert. Thank you. Nice to be with you.